Hello everyone, Melissa here, designer for Bello's Designs. Today we're going to be talking about moons and masking techniques. I'm going to do a complete series on different masking techniques. Today we're going to do moons, and I'm going to do one with the mountains or grounding, and we'll do one with the masking of the stamps, so you can make your background after you had stamped instead of prior. And we will be doing a few different things, but today, moons. So we're going to use some acetate circles as masks for our moons. And I have just cut these with my personal die cutter with just some circles. I have a 3, a 2 1/4, a 2 1/8, and a 1 1/4. Lavinia Stamps sells a package of acetate circles. You get 3. Patty in her store, she has circles galore, which comes on a 9.5 sheet, and it includes 16 different circles, the positives and the negatives. Be sure to check those out. We're going to do a couple different styles of moons. Some we're going to do with the stamp, without the stamp, on cards that the design has already been made, and we'll do some before you create a background. So like this one is just on a piece of white card. I haven't done anything to it other than stamp the moon, and I used VersaFine Clair Morning Mist. So to get started, I'm going to start with a very basic beginner moon. So I've created this card, and I just used a background that I already had, stamped up a few stamps on it. So when I very first started, I would always do it this way. I had no other, I didn't know how to start otherwise. So before I do any stamping on the top, because I want that to hang over the moon, it's nice to go ahead and create a moon just to give that glow to the fairies look. So I'm going to grab my blending brush, and I'm just going to grab up some of the background color that's really similar. We're going to go with olive. And you can do this with, this is Elements ink by Lavinia. You can use your oxides, your distress inks. You can even use your VersaFine Clairs. It really doesn't matter. Just whatever color you want. So starting with your mask in place, hold it down firmly. If you need to use tape, you can do that. I do that often. Start with your brush. You can also do this with a smoothie. You can do it with a makeup style brush. Start on the mask and just slowly make little circles all the way around until you just barely are getting on the card. Once you get your little circles, you can start flicking. Start with just a tiny bit. You can always add more. You can't always take it off. You can always kind of pull it up, see the effect that you're getting. If you want it darker, just go a little darker. And I'm just barely coming off the acetate, and I'm lifting as I flick. So that gives you a very quick little moon effect. It brings the center image, just kind of highlights it very good. And now, after you've done that, you could stamp an image and it will look like the moon is behind it. So I have here just a little vine. I'm just going to ink that up. I'm just going to stamp a few times to just show you. I'm not going to go ahead and finish this out, but just to give you an idea, if you do the moon before you do your top stamps, so it looks like it's hanging over, then you get the effect where the foliage is now in front of the moon, and the moon is in the background. So that's one very, very simple way to do a moon. I'll finish that card off in a little while and show you how that looks later. Now I have all this ink on my mask. I just take a paper towel. Sometimes it's nice to just use a little hand sanitizer. Just squirt it on and just wash it off. And it will come right off and get all the ink off. Now, set that off to the side. Okay, so now for our next moon technique. I also have another image here that I have just stamped up. And this time I actually want a moon, and I want the image. So I'm going to use my moon stamp. I'm going to ink up with the Morning Mist by VersaFine Clair. And just position your moon. And I don't know, I think it could go pretty much any way. And I get to be about there. Good press. Okay, and a moon. So that's a moon image, but that's pretty plain. Not quite anything special. So I have this about a 2 1/8 mask, which fits perfectly on the moon. And you can do the same technique that we just did. And you're just going to take your mask, take some ink. I'm going to use the pink. I'm going to use the confetti. And we're going to do the same thing. Very carefully, just place your brush and just go over your acetate. If it slides, just move it back into place. And turn it so I'm not in shock. See, so that just darkened it up just a little bit. Gives it more dimension coming from the moon. So that's another very simple way to get a moon that looks pretty good. We're going to work on a background that I have made. And I haven't done any stamping to this yet. We're just going to create a moon that, or sun, it could be sun, don't have to be moon, We're just gonna figure out what size we like. Maybe we just want a little bitty one. We'll try that. So this time we're going to do something a whole lot different. So we're going to take our white gel pen. It's just a white. This is the Signo Uniball gel pen. And we're just going to take your mask. And we're going to ever so slightly just draw your circle. Just go all the way around. And then you can take your finger and just kind of blend that. Blend it in a little bit better. Now we're going to use some PanPastel. This is Diarylide Yellow Tint. And just so you know, these are very fragile. I dropped it as soon as I opened it when it came in the mail. And it doesn't look pretty, but it still works. There's nothing wrong with it. And I use these little makeup sponges that you can get at the dollar store, because I only have pastels for creating mist or making moons. I'm not good with them. So just dab it in just a tiny bit, and it covers a lot. So just put it in there, and just very lightly. Sun than a moon, but you can do a moon the same way. It's just a different way of doing it. You can also just use titanium white, which I also use a lot. But I like that little soft yellow over yellow. It just gives it a little bit of a softness. So these are pretty simple, pretty basic moons. So now we're going to get into something a little bit different. I have this card here that I've created as well. And this is just a spray ink background that I've worked up. Now, because I have yellow and oranges, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to use the Summertime VersaFine Clair ink. Which is very juicy. Right there. Give that a second to let that dry. We're going to use our mask that matches. Still using the Summertime by VersaFine Clair. I'm going to take a little, actually I'm going to use a smoothie or In this case, another makeup blending brush that looks like a smoothie. So I have blue on this side. It's been washed, but you can wash them and the ink don't come off. I'm going to use the opposite end anyways. So little ink on there. And we're going to just flick. Another thing you can do, instead of holding this down, I'm going to show you that. So you have your mask. You also have these negatives, which this one's just a little bit bigger. You can place that in there, like that row there. Just hold both of them in place. This is good. Some tape will be necessary. So you just get that little frame, but it keeps it right there. And you can just blend it in just a bit. Okay, so that's kind of dark. I want that a little bit brighter. So I'm going to add some of the pastel. And just go around it. It's a bit different. So now you have that. And doing another one that's very similar. I'm going to use this background. So this is just another spray ink background that I made an ink sandwich out of. And I'm going to do a moon here. And I'm going to do that with the circle and the PanPastels. This time I'm going to use the titanium white. I'm going to use the opposite side of my sponge. And we're just going to blend that over the acetate. have a slight circle there that you can see. So this time we created the circle first. Now we're going to stamp over that. I'm just going to line it up. And there you have it. This is my favorite way to make a moon if I'm going to actually make a really nice moon. You can, this gives more definition than this style, but just depending on the effect that you want. Maybe this one's going to be way in the background and you won't really see all that detail. And this one is just without any pastels, only using the moon stamp and the acetate mask. And we have our first one where we stamped first. You can also add some more shiny and give it some more depth and details. And then we have the one where we made a sun. So I hope you guys got some new techniques with those. Use your masks. And if you have any questions, comments, just leave us a comment below. Please check out our Del Bello's Facebook pages, our groups. We have a Del Bello's a la carte lounge and Del Bello's lounge for Lavinia stamps. Check out both of those. And always thank you for watching and supporting us in our channel. So thanks.